The topic of my presentation is a very big topic, and I'm not able to cover all aspects of this topic. Uh, so let us begin by uh, say something uh, about two major themes in the Quran that I think we have in common with Jewish and Christians. The first one is worshiping God alone, and the second one is believing in the hereafter. Uh, my major question here is how to understand Quranic eschatology. In order to investigate this topic, I think there are some preliminary uh, topics or questions that we have to investigate. The first one is Quranic discourses in protology and eschatology because they are closely relevant to each other. The second one is the divine purposes of creation in general and creation of human beings in particular. The third one is Quranic conceptions of the life before this. The next one is Quranic conception of this. And the second one is Quranic conception of uh, uh, resurrection. And the last one is Quranic conceptions of the life after this. The three conceptions that I will talk about later are in fact about both the life before and the life after this. So I will go to concentrate on the relationship between number 3 and number 6. But before that, I need to say something about the nature of this and the nature of resurrection very briefly. Let us look at the nature of this in the Quran. uh, as I understand it, this, according to the Quran, is an existential event associated with an epistemological transformation in the cognitive faculty of humankind. There is a sentence in the Quran which has been repeated in 3 different places, which says, كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Every soul shall taste death. So according to the apparent meaning of these verses, this is a kind of perceptual experience that the one who is dying would have this kind of experience. Therefore, it should be a kind of being suitable for experiential knowledge. People would taste this differently. For the true believers, it will be sweet, very sweet. But for others, it would be sour or bitter. In another verse of the Quran, God says, Allahu yatawaffa al-anfus hina mawtaha والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. Allah takes away the souls at the time of their death and those who have not died in their sleep. Then he retains those for whom he has ordained this and releases the others until a specified time. There are indeed signs in that for people who reflect. So, as you can see, according to this verse, dying is quite similar to sleeping. And when we sleep, we do not become nothing. What happens when we sleep is an epistemic event, which is a temporal shutting down of our physical apparent senses. We do not see, we do not hear, we do not taste anything during sleeping. So the same will happen in dying, albeit permanently. And the other interesting verse in this regard is this one, in which God says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْغَفُورُ. Meaning that he who created death and life, that he may test you to see which of you is best in conduct. And he is the Almighty, the All-Forgiving. So according to this verse, life and death are the same in that they both are created by God. Creation is to bring something into existence or manifestation or form, not to terminate the existence or manifestation or form of a being. The next question is about the nature of resurrection. I think resurrection is a kind of rebirth. I mean life after life, not life after death. And there are many verses in the Quran which can be mentioned in this regard. Let me just look at one of them. In this verse, which is from chapter 50, number 22, God says, لَقَدْ كُنْتَ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا. The addressee is the person who died. لَقَدْ كُنْتَ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. You were certainly oblivious of this. We have removed your veil from you, and so today your eyesight is acute. So, as you can see, the implication of this verse is that the hereafter was already there, but you didn't see it. And now, after you die, you can see it. And this is because our cognitive faculties are occupied by paying attention to the appearances of this world. So what would happen when we die is not a change in the external world. The next world is the hidden aspect of this world, which was already there. Therefore, this is a subjective transformation of the cognizer, enabling him or her to see what was already there. Now, let us look at the major topic of my presentation, which is the relationship between parotology and eschatology in the Quran. I think we can categorize the material, the raw material that we have in the Quran under three major topics. The first one is a legal conception of the relationship between this world and the next world. The second one is philosophical conception, and the last one is mystical conception. The legal conception is the idea that the relationship between this world and the next world is a legal relationship that is there between positive law, divine positive law, and subsequent reward and punishment. And there are many, many verses in the Quran that indicate this kind of conception. Here is one of them. In verse 17, chapter 17, verse 36, God says, قال اذهب, addressing Shaitan, اذهب فمن تبعك منهم فإن جهنم جزاؤكم جزاء موفورا. Said he, begone, whoever of them follows you, indeed the hell shall be your requital and ample reward. This conception has several assumptions. I just mentioned some of them. The first one is that in this conception, God is pictured as a lawgiver, persecutor, and judge, and human beings as the subjects of the divine law. Resurrection as the day of judgment and reward or punishment. And the relationship between law and reward or punishment is a conventional and not a natural relationship. And one of the most important assumptions is that there is a spatio-temporal gap between this world and the next world. We live in this world for a while, and then we move to the next one. Philosophical conception is the idea that the relationship between this world and the next world is a causal relationship. You know, the principle of causality is one of the major philosophical principles that is there between what we do here and its natural or real consequences in the next world. Whatever we do has some consequences in this world and some further consequences for the next world. And here is one of the evidence in favor of this conception. من کان یرید حرث الآخرة نزد له فی حرثه و من کان یرید حرث الدنیا نؤته منها و ما له فی الآخرة من نصیب. Whoever desires the tillage of the hereafter, we will enhance for him his tillage. And whoever desires the tillage of the world, we will give it to him, but he will have no share in the hereafter. And here are some assumptions of the philosophical conception. The first assumption is that God is the creator of a system which is based on the principle of causality. And human beings are the subjects of the principle of causality. Resurrection is the harvest day, and the relationship between what we do in this world and what we receive in the next world as a reward or punishment is real or natural and not conventional. And again, what this conception has in common with the previous one is that there is a spatio-temporal gap between this world and the next world. They are two separate worlds. And the last conception is mystical one, according to which the relationship between this world and the next world is the one that is there between two dimensions of the same reality. There are not actually two worlds here. There is only one world which has two dimensions. And one of those dimensions is the apparent one, and the other one is the hidden one. And we live in both dimensions at the same time. What would happen by this is that the apparent would become hidden and the hidden would become apparent. And this is an epistemic transformation in our cognitive faculties, not an ontological transformation in the external world. And here is just one evidence in favor of this mystical conception. In chapter number 30, verse number 7, God says, يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَلَى الْآخِرَةِ هُمْ غَافِلُونَ. Here is the comparison between this world and the next world. And God says they know just an outward aspect of the life of the world, but they are oblivious of the hereafter, which means that this world and the next world are two dimensions of the same reality. And here again is another important evidence which has been mentioned twice in the Quran. God says, وَإِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ لَمُحِيطَةٌ بِالْكَافِرِينَ. Indeed, hell besieges, surrounds, or encompasses the faithless. Here, Quran does not say that the faithless will go to hell after a while when they die. It says they are in hell right now. They are surrounded by hell when they are in this world. And the assumptions of the mystical conception are as follow: God as beginning and the end of a mystical journey. Human beings are travelers from God to God, not as inhabitants of two separate worlds. Resurrection as the day of manifestation of the hidden aspect of things. And the relationship between what we do in this world and what we see in the next world as reward or punishment is real, natural, and not conventional, because they are the same, not even as cause and effect.